Dear guests, it is an honor to address you here today as the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs of Iceland. And I want to open on a loosely translated poem of Bergsveinn Birgisson, A Thesis of Life. Life is not complicated. Man needs love and potatoes. If either fails, things get tough. We as politicians, scholars, economists, and humans sometimes tend to compartmentalize life too much, categorizing people into different groups. This is especially true when we talk about the global economy. The emphasis that the Icelandic authorities have placed on the well-being economy is an attempt to address this compartmentalization, an attempt to better understand the nature of societies. Well-being is a term used for factors other than GDP to assess the population's quality of life. While GDP continues to be an important measurement of the well-being of the economy, it does not measure how the people in our communities or the environment are doing. We also know that while growth in certain industries may have a positive impact on GDP, it can have a negative effect on the environment or social aspects such as gender equality. With this in mind, the government of Iceland has placed an increased focus on well-being, and as a part of it, we have selected 40 indicators to measure and keep track of the population well-being, along with more robust data collection to facilitate this. 5 of the well-being indicators of those 40 are still under development, but when assessing the changes of the remaining 35 indicators over the last 5 years, we can see that almost half of the well-being indicators have developed in a positive direction. About 35% remained the same, and only 2 developed in a worse direction. One of those is inflation. This information is valuable as we can see in what areas the government's policy has been successful and where interventions may be needed. To further facilitate strategic planning and prioritization in relation to well-being, the government has defined 6 well-being priorities: mental health, secure housing, activity in work and study, carbon-neutral future, growth in innovation, and a better communication with the public. Some of these priorities relate to all policy areas, while others relate to select policy areas. Together, they help us to work towards common objectives as they guide the strategic planning for all policy areas, which are updated annually and present in the government 5-year fiscal policy plan. The well-being priorities are also important when it comes to prioritizing government funding. As an example of this, we have in recent years made significant changes in funding to areas that are directly related to these priorities. This includes increasing availability of mental health services, investment in affordable housing, changes to the social security system with focus on rehabilitation and the ability to participate in the labor market, incentives to shift from fossil fuels in transport, increased support to entrepreneurs and companies, research and development, as well as a significant boost in digitalization of the public service. While there is a clear correlation between the well-being priorities and budget developments, There is more we can do to strengthen the influence of well-being priorities on public finance and further develop our well-being budgeting practice. But we do not have to reinvent the wheel. We can adjust existing processes. In Iceland, we have over the past decade or so developed an advanced practice of gender-responsive budgeting that we can build upon. Gender considerations are now an integrated part of all stages of the performance budgeting cycle, from the identification of challenges that need to be addressed to the development of performance objectives and the measurements of their impact. Furthermore, assessment of the impact of the budget's measures on gender equality is a part of the development of budget proposals, and gender perspectives are highlighted all through the decision-making process. This process ensures the policies are designed in a way that promotes government priorities, be it gender equality or well-being, and makes sure that all of us that make budgeting decisions are well informed when doing so. The Wellbeing Economy Governments partnerships and this forum are a great venue to share our experience and to learn from other peers. It is important for us all to be better at facilitating well-being in our societies. Dear guests, life is not just about economic growth, not just about material wealth, but it is important to remember that a strong economy and robust production are the foundation that allow us to nurture generation in terms of education, welfare, and culture. As with many things, there is no single, definitely right way. We need cooperation and willingness to understand other people and their circumstances to create a good society. I thank you and wish you all the best in your work.